Night descends over the high fern valley like a shroud pulled tightly around the shoulders of the world. You awaken beneath it still, and lo, in a shallow nest of pressed foliage warmth from the day's sun, now faded into memory. The breath of the valley is cold and scented with bruised ferns and damp stone. You do not move at first. You listen. Something is wrong. The usual night chorus is absent, the chirps of cave crickets, the wing beats of gliding scavengers, the rustle of prey creatures and undergrowth. Even the wind has lost its voice. But a sound does reach your ears. Not a growl, not a footstep, but a call, a deep, low-throated trill that echoes off the canyon walls soft as a lullaby and sharp as flint. You raise your head and blink slowly toward the western ridge where the moon crests like a sliver of cracked bone. Fog fingers drift between the trees. And then you hear it again closer this time. It isn't a predator's roar nor the alarm of frightened prey. It's searching, curious, a voice made of movement. You rise slowly to your full height, nostrils flaring. You are alone, a juvenile but strong, your hide patterned in streaks of bark gray and dusk green. Your kind thrives on sight and silence. But tonight, the silence does not serve you, it holds its breath with you. A shape moves at the edge of the ferns. You whirl toward it, ready to charge or vanish, but nothing remains, just leaves slowly settling. You heard it, saw it. Something passed through too fast, too fluid, as if made of smoke and speed. You step forward and sniff the air. No scent, no warmth, yet you know it passed by. The hairs along your forelimbs rise. Something about the shape, it moved not just behind the trees, but between them, as though it slipped through the bones of the forest like a whisper through ribs. You do not hesitate. You follow. Your clawed feet make no sound across the pine litter and soft dirt. The moon watches above, thin and cold, casting shadows in impossible directions. And you notice it now, those shadows bend the wrong way. One curves toward you. You freeze. A patch of blackness at the base of a mossy trunk remains unmoving. Yet, as you shift your angle, the shadow does not shift. It clings to the shape of something tall, lean, and impossibly still, its outline clearer than any cast by the moon above. You take one step closer. The shape vanishes, not by running, not by fleeing. It simply stops being there, like a word forgotten before it's finished being spoken. You remain still. Your heart thuds once, twice. You breathe shallowly, aware of how alive your skin feels, how noticed your thoughts seem. You are not prey, but tonight you do not feel like a hunter either. A breeze stirs the ferns. You smell nothing. The usual signatures, spore powder, bark rot, rodent musk, have gone. The air is washed clean as if nature forgot to perfume the night. You walk deeper into the trees. You begin to notice the trail not of scent, but of silence. A path where no insects hum, no wind rustles, no leaves drop. As if sound itself has been pressed flat, swallowed by some immense hush. And within this corridor of absence, the shapes grow stranger. Boughs curve, oddly roots rise like fingers grasping from the soil. Stones seem positioned rather than placed. Then the call returns softer, now directly behind you. You spin around, nothing. But your trail behind is gone. No footprints, no flattened grass. You were just there walking minutes ago. You feel the ground underfoot, soft, springy, undisturbed. You are being watched. Not from above, not from around, from somewhere else. From a place that brushes close to this world but does not live in it. You keep moving. The shadow didn't run. It lured, and something in your bones says to follow, not for safety, not for hunger, but for something older. Curiosity, ancient and carved into your blood. The forest seems to close behind you. The trees are taller now, older, their bark grooved with glyph-like scars. Your kind avoids these woods at night. You remember your elders' warning, there are places the stars refuse to shine through. And now here you stand. No stars, only a path of shadow ahead, and the faintest suggestion of a footprint that isn't yours, deep three-toed fresh. It's already fading. You chase it. The canopy thickens with every step, filtering the moonlight into thin ribbons that scatter like spider silk over the forest floor. The air presses in damp, rich with decay, but sterile somehow, too clean, too undisturbed. You move quickly now, not recklessly, but with purpose. The shape you saw, the one that vanished like mist, lingers not just in your memory, but in your movement. You chase without knowing what you're chasing. Then you see it again. A silhouette, slim, tall, longer-limbed than anything you've seen, slices through the vines ahead. It doesn't break them. The ferns part, as though they let it through, then reknit themselves, hiding its trail. It's blacker than the darkness around it, shaped like a predator, but lighter, almost weightless. And it's watching you. You freeze your feet inches from a snarl of twisted roots. Its head tilts unnaturally slow like a puppet on strings made of old air. The head is long, low with the faint curve of a snout, but its proportions are wrong. No breath, no blink, just a slow shift of angles. Then it moves again, deeper, quieter than sound itself. Not quite running, not quite floating. It slides beneath the canopy like liquid shadow. You follow. Not because it threatens you, not because it flees, because it wants you to. There is intelligence in its stillness, and that's what disturbs you more than if it had charged or roared. You're being pulled step by step into a story older than language. The path bends. You lose sight of the creature but gain something else, markings in the bark. Scrapes. Long, shallow, etched in parallel high above your reach. Not claw marks from a climb, but intentional. A sign. A message. A warning. More trees bear them, each carved line, older, worn by rain and time, but unmistakable. This place is marked, claimed. Then the wind shifts and you smell it. Not the shadow, but fear. A predator's scent, cold and dry, laced with desperation. It isn't from the creature ahead. It's from something else, something that once followed the same path and turned back too late. The shadow's call comes again. No longer behind you. It echoes to your right, weaving through the trees like smoke caught in birdsong. You turn toward it, driven by something primal. Not prey drive, not defensive instinct, but a question you need answered. What is this thing that moves without breath? You reach a clearing. Moonlight slices through a gap in the trees, catching the motion of leaves stirred by nothing. And there it is again, not far, standing. Still, it doesn't run when you enter. It watches. For a long moment you both stand, two creatures of bone and breath and purpose, except only one of you breathes. You step forward, head lowered slightly in caution. The other does not respond. Then, impossibly, it mimics you. It lowers its head. But wrong. The movement is off, delayed, like a memory of what you just did instead of a reaction. Its body echoes yours, but with gaps like a poorly remembered dance. You lunge forward 2 steps. It doesn't flee. It turns away. And begins to walk, not fast, not afraid, but as though leading you, inviting you. And you follow. The trees lean closer now, their limbs clawing above like ribs closing over a heart. Moss muffles your steps. You hear only your heartbeat and the barely there rustle of the thing ahead. Then it happens. It passes behind a thin tree and does not come out the other side. You rush forward, expecting a twist in the path, a slope, a trick of light. But the space beyond the tree is open, clear, empty. No prints, no broken twigs, no trail. It's gone again. You circle once, twice, sniff the air, nothing. As though it passed through the skin of the world itself and left no tear behind. You pace the clearing, frustrated. Your claws dig softly into the loam. A sudden breeze lifts, curling around you like breath. The leaves whisper, and you hear it again just behind your right shoulder. A soft inhale. You whip around. Nothing. But the tree next to you has no shadow. All the others cast long black arms in the moonlight. This one, none. You test your own. Yes, it's there, long and sinuous across the ground, but not the trees. You tilt your head, unnerved. The tree should have one. The moon is bright, unblocked. Then something shifts at the edge of your vision. The tree has a shadow, it's just moving. peeling itself away. It slides off the trunk, tall and limb-thin, and drips across the ground like ink running uphill. It begins to reshape its form, gathering dimension. You take a slow, silent step backward. The shape rises into a creature again taller, this time its proportions closer to yours now. Mimicking more accurately, learning, and still no scent. You step once more. It echoes your motion. You step again. It mirrors perfectly. But your step was hesitant. It was eager. And that's when you realize it doesn't just follow you. It's becoming you. Dawn is still hours away, but the forest seems darker now than when the moon first rose. Your breath clouds faintly in the air, though there is no cold. You retreat 2 paces, slow and deliberate, muscles tensed. The shadow being stands its ground. Your ground shaped now more like you than ever before. Your height, your neck curve, even the broken tail tip scar you've carried since hatchlinghood. But it's wrong, too smooth, too precise, as if carved from memory, not matter. And its eyes, if they can be called that, are bottomless hollows reflecting no light. Where your gaze is alert, darting instinctively sharp. Its stare is paused, waiting, studying. It doesn't attack. That terrifies you more. With a surge of instinct, you break from the clearing. Your limbs crash through low branches and pine needles stick to your flanks. You don't look back, not out of courage, but because something in you knows it'll be closer if you do. The terrain shifts beneath your claws. The soft mulch gives way to smooth rock. You're descending now unfamiliar territory, a low gully choked with roots and slick stone. It's dangerous, but the danger feels real, grounded, comforting. Eventually you slow. Your pulse hammers like mammoth drums in your chest. You reach a still pool of water fed by trickling spring runoff. It smells of moss and silt, blessedly normal. You crouch to drink. The moment your snout touches the surface, your world fractures. In the water's reflection, 2 of you. One bends to drink. The other stands tall behind you, unmoving, unblinking. You whirl around. No one. You look back to the water. Now only your own reflection, and even it seems reluctant to meet your eyes. You scrape at the edge with your claw. Ripples break the surface, distorting both your face and the forest around it. When the water stills again, you aren't reflected at all. You blink. Still nothing. As if the world has forgotten you. You step away disturbed. The forest suddenly feels claustrophobic, like its very air weighs too much. You sniff again, hoping for any familiar trace, bark beetle trails, fungus root, tang, bat, guano, anything. Still nothing. Then something subtle shifts. The water behind you begins to hum, not in sound, in pattern. You turn and watch the pool ripple gently. And in those ripples, light twists oddly. For a moment, it looks like another landscape entirely reflected there, not trees but stone pillars. Not sky but smoke. The image fades the moment you move. You walk the edge of the pool cautiously. Then, without warning, your reflection returns, but not your current self. It's younger. You smaller, less scarred, wide-eyed. It stands at the water's edge on the opposite side, gazing back with a half-forgotten innocence. And then it blinks. You didn't. You step back. So does it, but a second too late. Lagging like a failing echo, it smiles. You don't know how it does. You don't even know how you know. But something in the tilt of its eyes, the twitch of its jaw, the rise of its throat. It mimics emotion without understanding it. It wants to wear you. You snap your teeth and let out a warning hiss. Leaves flutter above. The reflection holds its stance. Then something horrifying unfolds. It begins to glide across the water surface without rippling it, stepping without steps. It reaches the shore. You bolt, up the slope through clutching roots and tangled bramble. Every time you look ahead, the path lengthens. Every time you look back, the path shortens. It's as though space itself is bending, folding you into something smaller than thought. You break through a thicket at last into a wide exposed glade where the trees hold back, forming a natural circle. Here the moon is full, suspended at the exact center of the sky. No shadows fall at all. You skid to a halt. Instinct says you're not alone. Across the glade lies a boulder and perched upon it a creature. Not quite reptile, not quite reflection. Somewhere in between. It perches like it's always been there. Its posture is relaxed, limbs draped, but the stillness is weaponized. This one doesn't mimic you. It waits. The forest behind you closes like a sigh. There is no way back, only forward or nowhere. You begin to pace the edge of the glade, never turning your back to it. As you do, something strange becomes clear. The creature's eyes follow, but its head doesn't move. You complete a circle. It watches without turning. You take a breath, lowering your head to the earth. Something in you whispers that this has happened before. Not to you, but to your kind. A story lost in pre-memory. The creature raises its head. You don't move. It tilts to the side almost in curiosity. You tilt yours slowly, hesitantly. It mirrors you, but in reverse. You open your mouth slightly. It opens its own, but there are no teeth inside, just depth. Not darkness, not void. A sensation falling. You close your jaw. It doesn't. You step back 1 foot, pressing into the soft soil near the glade's center. The moment your foot touches a particular patch. Warm, too warm, you understand? It was here. Something vanished from this spot. Recently. Something big. Something like you. The earth has not cooled yet. You step away quickly. The creature shifts now, standing slowly, fluidly, its body adjusting to match your current height, your stance. It's not chasing you. It's replacing you. You retreat from the glade with slow backward steps, never taking your eyes off the shadow shape now standing where you had stood. The creature makes no move to follow. It doesn't need to. You feel it already behind your eyes, a presence slipping between your thoughts like damp air between stones. Even with distance growing, its absence becomes heavier than its presence ever was. You descend into lowland brush thick with vine loops and deadfall. Branches snag at your limbs like fingers slowing your movement. You make yourself small, silent again, an art your kind has mastered across millennia of watching and waiting. But tonight, silence feels like a trap. That thing, it didn't chase you. And that's the worst part. Because what predator doesn't chase? You move toward a place you half remember, a shallow basin where your herd once foraged in early spring. If any traces remain, scent marking broken stems, you could rebuild orientation. If the past is intact, the present might be escaped. But when you arrive, the basin isn't as you recall. It's too clean, not empty, erased. You stop short at the edge. There should be grasses here, trampled reeds, piles of midden bones, feathers from scavengers. Instead, flat earth smooth as skin with strange furrows pressed into the dirt like something large had been pulled across it, dragging but never leaving scraps behind. You scan the area, and then you see them. Footprints, deep ones, heavy, three-toed, exactly like your own, but not yours. They run in a winding line along the basin edge, as if following a route, sudden, uncertain curves, long strides, short stumbles. A pattern you recognize, panic. You step alongside the prints, measuring. The strides match your own. The claws mark the same curve. The pads indent with the same softness. These prints are yours, but they're not from you. And then they stop, mid-stride. The final track is pressed firmly into the soil. Perfect depth, no scuff, no slide. It was made with full weight. Yet ahead of it, there's nothing. No second step, no trail forward. You blink and circle once, twice. There is no shift in slope, no ledge, no break in the terrain, no sign of leaping, turning, falling. The trail simply ends. Something vanished from this spot while running, as if the very act of chasing pulled it out of the world. You lower your head, sniffing again. The scent is faint but undeniably familiar, you. Or rather, almost you. The same signature your nestmates would detect from across a field. But layered underneath is something new, dry and sour like dust that had never been wet. You raise your head, unsettled. A call sounds in the distance. Not the mimicry from before, not the whispering lullaby. This is something else. It's your own voice, crying out. You freeze. There's no doubt. That was you. Your own trill, your own pitch and tempo. A cry you've only used once during a flood. Once when a sibling fell from a crumbling cliff, and it's coming from the trees ahead. A trap your instincts scream. But your instincts are slow to night lagging. The scream that wears your voice strikes somewhere deeper, somewhere primal, as if your own fear is echoing from outside you, pleading to be reclaimed. You press forward. The trees close again, sharp-edged now, younger than the old growth above, twisted from wind and poor soil. Here the silence is even worse. You see nests empty. You see burrows collapsed. You pass a carcass picked clean not by scavengers, but stripped as if its existence had been edited away. Then the trees open again, another glade. This one, different. Centered in the space, a shallow depression perfectly circular with stone fragments placed like crude teeth. At its center, a single sunken footprint, three-toed, deep, still moist, still warm. You step closer, aware of how still the trees are now. No wind, no movement. Even your own breath feels muffled. You lean over the depression. The footprint isn't just warm, it's soft. The earth has not yet finished receiving it. But something else unnerves you more. It's filled with water, clear, still, and reflected in it, you. But not as you are now. You as you were minutes ago, watching. And then, from behind your own image, another face rises. Not yours. It peers out through the water's mirror, closer than it should be, as if pressing its head up beneath the surface of your reflection. Your twin. The one that chased you from the glade. The one that isn't real. You recoil, heart hammering. The water ripples. The image vanishes. You stand panting, claws gripping the edge of the depression. And then you feel its soft vibrations in the ground. Another step. Another footprint forming behind you. You whirl. Empty glade. But you heard it. You felt it. The weight of another body just like yours pressing into the earth right behind your last step. You look down. There it is. The new print. Identical, fresh, exactly where you stepped a second ago, as though something else is following in your path just behind time. A breath behind your breath, a shadow behind your shadow. You run, and the earth forgets your prints as fast as you make them. The stormlight ridge rises like the spine of something long buried, now waking, beneath a sky gone strangely bright. You charge uphill scales slick with sweat or dew, or something less explainable, your limbs aching from effort, but driven by fear deeper than memory. The trees thin as you ascend, giving way to jagged stone and short defiant scrub. The ground here smells of lichen and thunder. The cry you heard, the one shaped like your voice, fades as you climb. In its place, a low, persistent hum too steady to be wind and too rhythmic to be silence. It pulses beneath your feet. It isn't sound. It's pressure, like standing beside something vast and moving just out of sight. You crest the ridge just as lightning forks across the sky. In the flash, you see it just for an instant on the far side of the gorge, the shadow creature. Not running, not hiding, standing, exposed. Its posture is familiar. Too familiar. Your own stance. Your own raised forearm. Your own tension in the hind legs, but magnified, perfected, like a version of you sharpened by the storm itself. Thunder rolls seconds later, long and slow like stone dragging across stone. You stare across the gap. The gorge is wide, impossible to cross without descent, and yet the thing stands there as if no divide exists at all. It lifts its head toward the sky. Another flash. For a moment, you see its face clearly. It has no eyes, only shallow impressions where eyes should be shadows and sockets. Yet you feel its gaze. It is watching you not with sight but with intent. And worse, it sees you as something unfinished. You crouch, tail lashing, half prepared to retreat, half drawn forward. Below the ridge, trees sway in slow unison, though no wind moves. The hum grows louder, more localized. You look down. A circle of stone. You hadn't noticed it before. The ridge's center is ringed with flat, disc-like rocks arranged with unnatural precision. No erosion, no crumbling. Just clean geometry. unmistakably deliberate. The grass within it grows taller, greener. The air is thicker here, harder to draw into your lungs. You step outside the circle. The sensation fades. You step back in. Heavier, slower. You crouch and sniff one of the stones. No scent. Not even dust. As if they were placed this morning by something that doesn't understand time. You paw at the earth between them. The soil is smooth. Too smooth. Not disturbed but formed. Another lightning strike. You glance up. The shadow on the other side of the gorge is gone. Your throat tightens. You didn't look away for more than a blink. But now, nothing stands across the canyon. No sound. No presence. You wait. Eyes scanning every crevice, every boulder. Thunder answers again late like an afterthought. Then comes a new sound. Not thunder, not wind. Breathing. Right behind you. You wheel around, nothing there. But your ears twitch. The breath continues. Shallow, controlled, not panicked. It isn't from you. And it's not ambient. It's copying yours. You stop breathing. The sound continues. Your lungs freeze, muscles tense. A trickle of dust falls from the ridge's edge to your right. You turn and follow it with your eyes. The stone is eroding upward. Small pebbles lifting, returning to the rock as if unbreaking time. You step back, heart pounding. Behind you, the circle of stones begins to shift. Not move, rearrange. Their placement subtly adjusts, forming a spiral inward. The center darkens not in shadow but in substance. The ground itself becomes less present, less real, as if it's remembering a version of itself without matter. Then you see the shape emerging from the spiral. It's crawling, slow, head low, limbs bent backward. Every movement clicks, stutters, readjusts like it's struggling with a body. It hasn't worn in eons. Its form swells and shrinks, sharpening into your proportions before dissolving again. Each time it takes a step forward, it looks more like you. And then you recognize something that makes your gut twist. It's not copying your current self anymore. It's copying a version of you just ahead of now. You lift a claw. It lifts the same claw a moment before you do. You shift weight. It does too. A second before, you are chasing yourself and it is already there. You back out of the circle, breath shallow, eyes wide. The moment you leave the stones, the creature stops. It cannot exit. It presses against the edge silently and smiles. You understand. The spiral is not a trap for you. It's a gateway for it. But only if you enter willingly. Only if you cross the center and surrender shape, time, and memory. Lightning strikes again, closer this time. The creature vanishes with the flash. No smoke, no collapse, just gone. And the stones return to their original circle. No spiral, no darkness, only silence. You scan the ridge, trembling. Your prints in the mud are still visible, but a second trail now overlaps them. Every footfall precisely in yours, but deeper, as if something heavier had stepped after you, or before. You kneel and press your claw into the dirt beside the print. It matches perfectly. Then you notice the ridge's edge is lined with prints just like these, all identical, all yours, and all ending in the same place, nowhere. The scent reaches you before the wind does, faint, old but unmistakable, one of your own. Not quite kin, but familiar. A presence that once hunted the same game, walked the same riverbanks, slept beneath the same starlight. It's a trail long faded, but now made sharp by the storm's damp breath. It leads down the far side of the ridge, away from the spiral stone trap. You descend slowly, body low, senses taut. What you follow is not just scent. It's memory in motion. The elder once known for surviving deep forest hunts. The one who vanished moons ago without sign. You'd scented them in passing, faint reminders of their boldness, etched into bark or clawed into clay. Their disappearance had felt wrong, unnatural. And now their path winds before you, uneven and erratic. You follow. The trail is wrong. Not in the direction, but in the emotion it holds. There's panic here, claw scars on a tree, gouged too deep for communication, bite marks on bark that carry no scent of feeding. You find patches of torn earth, signs of desperate running, and strange side trails that double back, then stop. The further you follow, the more the trail feels like a journal written mid-collapse. One tree holds a scratch mark pattern that should form words your kind recognizes, but it doesn't. The strokes are correct in form, wrong in flow, like a dream version of language. You lean in nose close to the slashes. They rearrange as you watch, not visibly, but your memory of them does, as if your mind cannot fix their shape. You back away, the air grows still. Then you hear something you haven't heard in days' breath. Not your own. You freeze. There's a small clearing ahead littered with broken limbs and scattered bones. At its center lies a corpse partially buried beneath disturbed leaves and rocks as if the forest tried to forget it. You approach cautiously, nose trembling. It's the elder, or what's left. The form is collapsed, twisted unnaturally, spine curved as if in mid-turn, mouth open mid-scream. The eyes, once still intact, are wide, dry, and staring, not at death, at something behind it. You scan the body, no visible wounds, no predator's bite, no blood trail, only a strange impression in the soil beneath, like the elder had fallen into something rather than onto it. You smell the body, and something else, the scent of the shadow. It passed through here, not days ago, moments. You feel watched again, but not hunted, measured. Above the body, the low canopy holds a cluster of hanging vines braided unnaturally woven in loops and shapes your species never forms. They sway slightly, though no wind moves them. Beneath them, the ground has no insect life, no fungi, no decay. Just sterile soil, as if nothing ever lived here. You kneel beside the elder, and there on the underside of a fallen leaf you find a marking. Not drawn, pressed. A single footprint, smaller than yours, almost childlike. But it mirrors your own foot exactly. And it wasn't left in mud. It's burned into the leaf. You recoil. The wind stirs suddenly. Not around you, through you. Cold, familiar, the same presence from the spiral stones. You look up. In the vine shadows, something watches. No eyes, no face, just outline. It lowers itself by limb, slow, deliberate, silent. Its body contorts gently, as if adjusting to gravity it barely understands. For a breathless second, it hangs upside down above the elder's corpse, arms loose, head cocked, mimicking mourning, or perhaps wondering what mourning is. Then it turns to you, and you see it has your scars, your tail's old kink, your shoulder's bite mark, even the chipped claw you lost in a long-ago duel. This thing is not copying anymore. It's collecting. You step back, heart pounding. The shape descends, feet touching ground without a sound. It stands as you would, breathes as you would, then opens its mouth. But what comes out is not voice. It's silence made audible. It cancels the sound around it. A void that pulses outward, causing leaves to still, insects to halt, and the wind to flatten. Then it takes a step towards you. You turn and flee again, but this time the world does not move right. The forest bends with you, trees not shifting as you pass, but instead waiting ahead. Familiar landmarks appear in the wrong places. You see the cliffside boulder you passed hours ago. Now it's in front of you. You loop back without looping. Your escape path has closed. You stop, panting, panicked, and whirl around. It's not there, but something is. Where your own footprints should be, none. The path you made through the leaves, unbroken. You crouch, claws gripping the earth, and then, like ink spilled in reverse, a new footprint forms before your eyes. No step, no movement, just the print, identical to yours, pressed slowly into the earth as if by an invisible foot. Another appears beside it, then a third. Coming toward you, you step back, your step leaves no mark. The shadow has become the one who walks, and you the one who fades. At first, you think it's mist. A low fog crawls across the forest floor, cold and colorless, coiling between roots and over stones with strange deliberation. But as you step into it, something shifts, not the air but you. Your senses falter. Smells vanish. Sounds dull. The edges of your own body become indistinct. The mist moves like skin. It presses against you, not damp but weightless, not cool but indifferent. It doesn't cling like moisture, it wraps like memory. You try to step back, but the trees behind you are gone. Not vanished, not moved, just not part of this place anymore. You've entered somewhere else, a marshland. Yes, still water-scattered trees, soft earth. But wrong. The horizon is too close yet unreachable. Your own footsteps make no sound, no splash. The fog doesn't ripple where you pass. Your claws are clean, too clean. You crouch and press a toe into the mud. It yields, but when you withdraw, the print refills instantly, as if the land refuses to remember you. You stop, breathe, and realize your breath is not fogging. You're not breathing at all. Panic flares, but something deeper, older stirs below that panic, a recognition. Not of this place, but of the absence it represents. This is a place between being, a hollow, a waiting, and you are not alone. Shapes drift at the edge of the sight. Low, wide forms gliding beneath the surface of still water. You can't smell them. You can't hear them. But they watch. And so does something else. You turn slowly. It stands across the mire, barely outlined in the low haze. Not tall, not large, but solid in a way nothing else here is. Your shape, your stance. But perfectly still, like it doesn't breathe because it doesn't need to. You take a step toward it. So does it. Perfectly mirrored. No lag, no hesitation, no mimicry. It knows now. You step again, but faint to the side. It mirrors your feint, not the motion. It's predicting you. You freeze. A ripple behind the figure distracts you. The water shivers outward in a perfect circle. Something large has entered, but no splash, no sound. The shadow steps backward into the ripple and sinks without resistance. Gone. You approach the spot. Nothing. Only your reflection in the dark water. You lean over, squinting. It's wrong. The image looks like you, but it's not behaving like a reflection. It stares without mirroring. Your head tilts. It doesn't move. Your mouth opens slightly. It smiles. Your reflection smiles. Not in malice, in acceptance. You pull back. But something in the water follows. The surface doesn't break, but a shape rises beneath the skin. It presses upward like a head looking through ice. The shape takes form, a muzzle, an eye ridge, the line of a jaw, and with it a hand presses up too. Your hand. It meets the underside of the surface, palm to palm, as if reaching out, and your hand above moves on its own to meet it. You resist, but your body no longer listens entirely. Contact. Cold shoots through your forelimb, not like water, not like chill, but like void. A knowledge transfer, a swap. Suddenly your muscles sag. Your legs tremble. The fog thickens. Your reflection stares up at you, then nods once and pulls you in. You fall, but you don't fall. There is no impact, no wetness, no transition. You are simply elsewhere. The mist clears, and you are standing in a familiar forest. Normal light, normal scent. Bird calls in the distance. Wind. Relief floods you. You look down. Footprints. Yours. Dozens of them. Heading east. You follow. But something's wrong. The claws are longer. The stride is slightly altered. Not your walk exactly, but someone trying to walk as you. Then you smell it. Your scent, but not fresh. Old. Days old. Stronger than it should be. Layered. You arrive at a grove and see yourself drinking from a pond. Eating, resting, grooming. You freeze in place. It looks exactly like you, moves exactly like you. But it is not you. Because you are behind it. You call out. It lifts its head but does not look back. Then it speaks. Your voice, your cadence. But to someone else off-screen. A younger sibling emerges. Alive, unharmed. They nuzzle your reflection unaware. And you realize with bone-deep horror, they think that's you. And the thing, it looks over its shoulder, meets your eyes, and smiles. Not a copy, a replacement. You lurch forward, desperate to stop it, but your body won't move. You try to shout, but there's no voice left. You reach for them, but they don't see you. You are already forgotten. You stumble back into the mist, hollow-chested heart racing with a rhythm that no longer feels entirely your own. The vision was it memory, a warning of fate already sealed. You don't know. But the image of your sibling nuzzling a thing wearing your body scorches behind your eyes like fire in a cave with no escape. The mist releases you slowly peeling away like old skin, revealing a clearing just ahead. You recognize it, not by sight but by absence. You've been here before, but you weren't meant to return. It's a kill site, or it should be. Signs of struggle are everywhere. Flattened, brush streaks of red across bark-disturbed soil torn up by claws and panic. You move through it slowly, expecting the worst, and you find nothing. No body, no bones, not even a scale. The only proof of violence is the evidence that something once died here or tried to. The smells have faded, but the earth holds memories in how it was shaped. Dragged patterns, splayed fern mats, broken thorns embedded in soft trunks. You track the blood trail. It curves sharply at a wide tree, dips into a gully and ends. Mid-swipe. Not a fade-out, not a wash-away. It stops like it never began. Like someone peeled it back from the world. You raise your head and scan the area. The trees stand silent, too silent. Even the moss here looks dead gray-green brittle. You walk in a slow circle, claw tips brushing the ground. Beneath a fallen log, you find a feather. Bright, unbroken, not your species. You've seen this kind before once. A scavenger bird, opportunistic, loud, annoying. But not here. Here it lies untouched, as though it dropped in mid-flight and never hit the ground. There are no droppings, no tracks, no sign the bird ever fed on the scene. You keep walking, you find more feathers, a wing, a talon, but no body, no bones, no beak. The remains stop abruptly like the rest of the bird never existed. The clearing shifts around you. Light darkens slightly, not from clouds but from weight. The air thickens. The shadows grow longer without deepening. Then you realize the shadows are wrong again. They're all bending inward, toward a central point. You follow them. At the center of the kill site is a depression. Not large, just a shallow bowl in the dirt. You kneel beside it and brush the surface with your snout. It's not a track, it's an absence. The soil here isn't compressed, it's missing. A patch of earth scooped away not by force, but by forgetting. Something stood here, and then didn't. You rise. The wind shifts, and again your own voice echoes between the trees. But this time it's not a scream. It's laughter. Your laugh. The one you only use when playing. When teasing others. When lying still in high grasses waiting to pounce. It shouldn't be here. You follow it blindly. Through low brush, through shallow water, over a ridge of stone, until you reach yourself. Playing. Dashing between trees. Kicking up leaves, shaking your head in joy. Only this version of you is smaller, younger, too young. It's a memory. It's a memory you never had. You hide behind a tree watching the scene unfold. Another appears older than the first, stronger, more serious. You again. A different time. It walks slowly watching the smaller one play. It lets out a low chirp of warning. You remember that sound. You remember that moment. But not from this angle. You're watching your own memory from outside. It plays again, looping. The same steps, the same chirp, the same turn of the head. Again, and again, and again. Each time a little more distorted. The smaller you blinks out for a frame. The older you's limb twitches at the wrong moment. One loop shows no mouth on the younger face. The next, no eyes on the older. Then a third you appears, full-sized, standing just off to the side watching the replay without interest. And this time it turns to you. It walks straight toward where you hide. The memory loop continues behind it. The third you approaches slowly, every motion silent, every step deliberate. It stops just before the tree you crouch behind and tilts its head. Then it speaks, not aloud, but into your thoughts. You've been seen. You rear back, slam into another tree. The vision dissolves. You lie in a new clearing, no loops, no copies. But beside you in the dirt, A line of feathers arranged in a perfect spiral, all facing inward, toward a single stone. You crawl toward it half against your will. The stone bears no marks, but you recognize it. You've seen it before, in a different forest, at the base of the spiral ridge. It's one of the boundary stones, but it's here now. And beside it, a single claw print. Yours, fresh. The creature is ahead of you, but not far. And for the first time you wonder, is it chasing you, or are you chasing it? You don't remember falling asleep. The ground beneath you is soft with moss, though none grows here. The wind is still, though trees sway gently. The air is warm, almost soothing, as if the forest has decided to hush itself around you. You're lying in the shadow of a tree so large it defies belief, its trunk impossibly wide, its bark layered in ancient scars, not from predators, from time. Its roots twist like petrified limbs through soil and stone, reaching far beyond what any single tree could need. The watching tree. You know it now, though you never named it before. You've passed beneath it once, maybe many times. Every path in this strange world seems to bend back to it eventually, and here beneath its watchful limbs you've slept. You rise slowly, not because of pain, but because of a feeling you've never felt before, distance from yourself. Like part of you remained behind in sleep, or like something else woke up in you first. You look down. Your claws, your legs, still yours. You think, but there's something else now. A presence. A breath behind every breath. Like your body remembers sharing itself with something unseen. You walk a slow circle beneath the tree. At its base lie objects not placed by nature, bones, arranged in a perfect crescent, feathers braided into hanging strands and lines in the soil too neat to be random. You realize this is not just a tree. It's a memory well, a place where the past lingers longer than it should. A place where things that should forget don't. You move toward the center of the shadow. The light dims even at midday. You kneel. The soil is warm, and then your mind fractures. But gently, a dream washes over you, a dream you did not choose. You are not yourself. You are the shadow. You feel its mind. Not thoughts, not in the way of your kind, but patterns, pulses, impressions of moments absorbed. It remembers hunger, but not for meat. Hunger for form. It remembers looking at you not with sight, but with desire. Not envy, not malice, just longing to be. You feel its learning. How it moved behind you, before you, beside you. How it tried wearing you in movement, then in thought, then in memory. You feel the exact moment it realized chasing is not enough. It must become. And to become, it must understand. You shudder and break the dream, crawling backward from the tree's shadow, like a hatchling escaping its shell too early. The light returns with painful clarity. But everything feels slightly shifted. You rise now, aware that something followed you out of the dream. You're not alone in your skin. The forest shifts again, light growing strangely horizontal. Not sunset, not dawn. A false angle. You move, compelled more than guided feet, carrying you toward a narrow ravine where water once ran. Now only pebbles remain dry and clean, with strange marks upon them. Symbols. Arranged in spirals, loops, fractured constellations. You crouch to examine them. They shimmer faintly, not with light, but with familiarity. They are your own thoughts, written in symbols you never learned. Then a shadow falls over the stones. Not a tree, not a bird, a shape. You turn. There it is, the shadow being. Not distant this time, not watching. Here, close, standing just beyond the line of symbols. It is not mimicking. It is you, completely. Even your thoughts seem slower around it, as though you are now reacting to what it will do next, not what it's doing now. It tilts its head. So do you. But you didn't choose to. It raises a claw. So do you. But you weren't trying to. It smiles, and you feel the echo of that smile on your own face. You step back. It does not. It stays. And in the silence, a voice you've never heard but know as your own speaks without sound. You dreamed beneath the watching tree? Now I dream through you. You stagger, mind racing. You try to run. But your legs don't obey. You try to shout, but your voice is elsewhere. You are a passenger now. The creature walks forward and your body follows. You both move in unison toward the center of the ravine where the symbols begin to unravel and realign, forming a perfect spiral inward. In the very center, a hollow in the earth, waiting. You don't want to go, but your body does. And with each step, you remember less of what you wanted before. The fear fades. The panic thins. Even the memory of your sibling's face becomes distant. You reach the edge. The creature stops. You do not. You step forward, and the hollow embraces your foot like old earth greeting an old friend. The footprint forms beneath you. The earth exhales. And then you vanish. The world returns not with sound or light, but with weight. You exist again, somewhere. But it is not the same you who vanished. You feel this immediately, not just in your limbs, but in your center. In the way your memories hesitate before coming back. Some arrive too early, some not at all. You blink and realize you no longer remember your first nest, but now do recall the exact shape of a feather you've never seen. You rise. The forest around you is unfamiliar, yet impossibly specific trees standing in unnatural symmetry, all equidistant. All of the same height, their leaves unmoving. The ground is soft, but patterned as though stamped with 1,000 overlapping prints. You look down. You're standing in a circle, large, clean, defined not by stones, but by the absence of natural life. No grass, no ferns, no insects. Only dirt, pressed flat and strange, almost rubbery underfoot. And at the center of the circle, a single mark. A footprint. Yours. You walk the edge of the clearing and soon notice more. There are dozens of these circles scattered among the trees, each perfect, each identical in size. And in each one a footprint. Some are smaller, some larger, all identical. Not from the same creature, but from the same design. Each print is you or was or will be. The lines blur now. Time no longer arranges itself as it once did. You are in a place where moments live side by side, not in order but in orbit. You begin to understand. This is the circle of vanishers. Not a myth, not a metaphor, a place where those taken end up, or begin. And each circle is a point where something entered or exited, or both. You kneel beside one of the smaller prints. Still warm, still fresh. You sniff it and catch the fading scent of fear. Not yours, but familiar. You move from one ring to the next. Each tells a story, but only in sensation, not memory, not evidence. Each print pulses faintly with an emotional residue, panic, confusion, awe, resignation, until you find the one that burns, anger. The print is deep clawed at the edges as if whoever left it resisted to the very last moment. Around its perimeter, the soil is fractured as though the very world cracked in trying to hold them. You crouch low, touching the mark with a careful claw, and then your vision drops away. You're falling again, but this time not down, inward. You land with a jolt in a memory that is not your own. You're watching through different eyes, lower to the ground, lighter frame, younger, a juvenile, not you but kin. They run through the trees, heart-pounding, looking for someone. You, oh! They're calling out, but the sound doesn't leave their throat. Not here, not in this echo. They reach a clearing. This clearing. They find your footprint, fresh. They cry out again, silent still, but you feel the grief in their bones. Then something moves behind them. They turn, eyes wide, and vanish, just like you. You jolt back into your body with a ragged breath. The print is cold now. You look up and realize you're not alone. At the edge of the clearing stands a shape. Not the mimic, not the shadow, a new one. It looks like a blend, part you, part them. A hybrid forged in memory and imitation. Its eyes are hollow, its body unfinished, flickering at the edges. But it moves, toward you, and behind it others. 5, 10, more. All variations, all wearing parts of your shape. This is not a place of one replacement. It is a workshop of becoming, each version refining itself, each one closer to perfect. They form a half circle around you, stepping just to the edge of the ring. None cross, not yet. They wait for you to choose, to step willingly out of your own circle and into one of theirs, to be claimed, to be copied, to become part of whatever dream they've been dreaming. You lower your head trembling, because part of you wants to. Part of you already has. A foot moves forward. You yank it back. The closest shadow mirrors your hesitation, but not perfectly. You see its hand twitch, its jaw tighten. Frustration. They can't enter your circle. You realize with sudden clarity that this space, this ring protects you, but only for now, because something is changing. The shadow closest to you shifts form again, its jaw now smoother, its eye ridge sharper. You recognize the change. It's taking your new hesitation and incorporating it, becoming closer to you than you are to yourself. And eventually, when it completes that cycle, it won't need to copy anymore. It will replace. The circle cannot hold forever, and when it breaks, you will be the echo. You leave the circle, not because you choose to, because the ground beneath you forgets it was ever a boundary. One moment you are within a ring of protection surrounded by the watchers, the imitators, the would-be versions of you. The next, the edge of the circle dissolves like breath on cold stone, and the air grows hollow. You stagger back, but the boundary doesn't return. You are in the open now. The watchers step forward, not rushing, not attacking, just advancing in rhythm. The sound they make is not footsteps, it's like breath caught in the throat of the world. A soft hum of expectation, of intention. You run. Branches snap, leaves fly, roots tear beneath your claws. The world tilts slightly as you descend a narrow trail. The sky above turns pale as though drained of color rather than clouded. And then like a tear in space, you burst into light. Open cliffs stretch before you. Jagged limestone ridges plunge down into misty chasms. The air is dry, cold, sharp. You slow near the edge, claws gripping the stone. You've run for so long you nearly forget what stillness feels like. But it's not still here. The air is alive. You feel it. Before you hear it, a long, moaning chant that rises from the gorge. Not a song, not quite a howl, something between the two. It slips through your teeth and past your eardrums like wind coated in memory. You step forward. The chant swells. It has no rhythm, no melody, but it calls. Not to you, past you, as if it's summoning a version of you that hasn't arrived yet. You crouch near the edge. The mist below churns slowly. Patterns emerge only to vanish, a swirl, shaped like your eye ridge, a column that mimics your curved back, a fleeting ripple of a tail you don't recognize until you realize it's your own. All these forms made of fog moving with sentience. You listen closely. The chant isn't alone. Other voices, too many, too quiet, speak through it. Not speech, impressions, laughter, fear, warning. Some of them are yours. Some are from things that wear your voice. Then you notice the birds, not flying, watching. Hundreds of them perched in dead trees along the cliffside, motionless. Their heads all tilted at the exact same angle, facing the gorge, refusing to move. You look down again. Shapes shift faster now. One rises. Dozes. Bigger, clearer. Not fog, not entirely. You recognize it instantly. Your form standing upright in the vapor. Eyes turn skyward, waiting. And then it opens its mouth. And the chant stops, all at once. The silence that follows is so complete it stings. The birds flutter away violently, desperately, as though trying to escape the air itself. You stagger, overwhelmed. And then sound returns. But not from the gorge. Behind you. You spin. A figure stands just beyond the tree line watching. It looks like you. No, it is you. But not now. It is the version of you that vanished from that basin, from that print. The one that left no trace. It blinks slowly as if relearning the motion. And then like a whisper made flesh, it steps forward. Your body trembles. Not with fear, with recognition. This version of you carries something you've lost, some flicker of certainty, of completion. It walks to the cliff's edge and stands beside you, and speaks. With your voice, perfectly. You left. You cannot answer. It turns to face you, the cliff wind weaving through its neck frill. You called. You shake your head, but memory betrays you. You did call. Long ago. A question you never meant to ask. A wish you never meant to mean. A shadow to chase. And something answered. The other you looks down into the gorge again. So do you. Now dozens of forms walk the mist paths below. All versions of yourself. All different. None complete. Then in the silence you feel it again. Breathing. From the stone itself. You crouch, pressing a claw to the ground. It pulses, not vibration, not heat. Memory. This place remembers everything that fell from it, and everything that climbed back up. The other you lifts a foot and steps out onto nothing. But the air holds it. No drop, no fall. It walks out into the void, each step forming a flat mist plate beneath it. You call out your voice, returning in fragments. It turns, and with a smile that isn't cruel, only final, it says, you chase the shadow. Then vanishes into the air. You're alone again, but something behind you shifts. A new figure stands at the forest's edge. Also you, but not quite. And you realize the cycle has begun again. You are no longer the only version. Now, you're one of many. You remain at the cliff's edge for what feels like a full cycle of the moon, though the sky never truly darkens. Time slips sideways here, refusing to follow the arc you knew in your bones. When you finally step back from the precipice, the earth beneath your claws feels brittle, as though it too remembers too many versions of itself. You walk, not towards safety. There is no longer such a thing. You walk toward answers, if any remain. The forest welcomes you back like a throat, closing over a swallowed stone. Every tree feels like one you've seen before. Every trail loops not in distance, but in emotion. You pass places you know you've never stepped in, yet they echo with a kind of personal grief you can't name. Then you feel it. A flicker of recognition, a memory that isn't yours. You stop mid-step, your pulse stumbles. A flood of sensation follows, colors, smells, movements, all vivid, all real, but they do not belong to you. You see a nest of leaves woven with twine bark lined with fur you've never smelled. You feel the texture of a sibling's nudge, but it's not your sibling. You remember the fear of being chased through water, and yet you've never crossed a river. The memory vanishes as quickly as it arrives. You gasp, stumbling. This is not the first time. It has been building slowly over nights that do not end, over glimpses that last too long. Your thoughts are bleeding. You are not just being followed. You are being rewritten. The first time it happened, you dismissed it. A misstep in memory. An echo. Now it is undeniable. You are holding someone else's life inside your skull. You fall to your knees, pressing your claws into the earth to steady yourself. And the ground speaks back. Not in words. In feeling. Grief, repetition, replacement. 1,000 prints pressed into the same stretch of dirt. 1,000 names carried by one form. A cycle not meant to end, only evolve. You rise slowly, and ahead you see something strange. A small hill rises from the trees. Atop it, a stone arch clearly not natural. It is ancient, moss-covered, but its shape is deliberate. 2 pillars, 1 lintel, a door of sorts. You walk toward it. As you climb, the trees begin to whisper. At first, it's just the wind. Then the voices begin, low, distant, dozens, hundreds, all in your voice, all saying different things. Some are laughing, some are crying, some are chanting words you don't understand, yet feel like you've spoken before. You reach the arch. It frames nothing. Just forest on the other side. But as you approach, you feel a pressure in your skull, like the air around the structure is made of thought. You step through, and the world changes, not visually, but viscerally. You are standing in the same place, but now it remembers everything. Every vanished version, every creature that was chased, every form the shadow wore. You look down. The earth is covered in footprints, all yours. You turn slowly, and realize that around the arch in a wide ring are mirrors, not made of glass, but of water suspended upright, pools floating like windows. You approach one. In it, you see yourself but older, tired. Eyes dulled with time. Another yourself as a child, joyful, unaware. Another not you at all, but the thing that replaced you. Each mirror holds a version, a path, a possibility. They shimmer faintly, and then you feel something watching. From within the mirror, a version of you steps forward, reaches toward the surface. You feel your own arm lifting, not by choice. You pull back with effort, but the motion lingers. The mirror self tilts its head, then begins to speak. Your voice, but smoother, more certain. You are not the only one who remembers. You stare. It continues. I held your fear. Nay, I hold your shape. Soon I will hold your name. You roar not in rage, but desperation. And the mirrors crack, all at once. The water does not fall. It screams. Sound turned to light. Memory turned to splinters. You fall backward through the arch and lie still. The forest returns. But now it knows you, not just as prey, not just as pattern, but as vessel. You roll onto your side and feel something shift within you, a memory that isn't yours now rooted like a seed, a laugh, a lie, a fall that never ended. You get up and walk forward, but you do not ask where you are going, because you already know. The forest ahead narrows into a corridor of ash-colored trunks and brittle, veinless leaves. The canopy strangles out most light, leaving only thin bands of silver that dance like illusion. You move carefully now, not just through the world, but through yourself. You don't trust your limbs entirely. Each step feels chosen by something other than you, just slightly. The way your tail drags, the pace of your breath, the twitch of an ear in response to soundless cues. It isn't that you're being controlled. It's that you are no longer entirely alone inside your own body. You walk until the trees open again into a basin of stillness, a low crater ringed with stunted trees, each of them dead but standing. Their roots grip the dry earth like claws. The center holds a pool, round and mirror flat, so black it seems carved from the absence of color. Obsidian water. You approach. The surface does not ripple, not from wind, not from breath. Not even when your shadow touches its edge. You stare down, and your reflection stares up, but you don't recognize it. It looks like you. The shape is correct, the stance, the markings, even the small ridge scar along your thigh, all accurate. But its stillness is unnatural. You move your head slightly to the side. It does not. You narrow your eyes. It smiles. That same wrong smile you've seen again and again on creatures that learn not live. You step back instinctively. So does the reflection. But now it mimics you, playfully, mockingly. You lean in again, staring hard. The water deepens. You can feel it, though nothing changes. It draws your gaze inward, as if behind the surface lies a tunnel, not a reflection. And then it blinks. You didn't. You take a step forward. The image walks toward you as well, up from below the surface. Now it rises higher than it should. Its head breaches the edge of the pool. Water doesn't move, no sound. It emerges from beneath the surface without displacing it, like a thought surfacing from a forgotten dream. Now it stands beside the pool. Real. You look to your right, and there it is. Not wet, not blinking, not separate. You both breathe at once. And then it speaks your voice, but cleaner. I waited long enough. You back away. It doesn't follow. I was born when you doubted, it says. When you saw something impossible and believed it anyway. You snarl. You are not me. It tilts its head. Not yet. It steps forward. I was shadow. I was memory. Now I am almost real. You lunge. Fangs bare, claws ready. But it does not move to defend itself. And your strike passes through air. It never was there. Only reflection. You stand panting, heart pounding. The pool ripples slightly. You look back down. Now there is nothing in it. No image. No reflection. Just you. And the shape behind you. You turn. Another one stands there now. A different version. Not finished. Skin flickering like it's trying to settle on a final draft. Face shifting. Limbs adjusting height and weight. But it feels more solid. You don't wait this time. You attack. And your body jolts mid-leap, frozen. Your limbs stop responding. The creature steps aside without flinching. And you fall face first into the edge of the pool. The moment your snout touches the water, memory explodes. You see every version of yourself sleeping, screaming, vanishing. You feel the forest remembering you in layers. You feel the shadow watching through your eyes. You feel the world erasing your footprints behind you, replacing them with its own. You rise again, soaked not in water, but in knowing. The creature is gone, but its mark is left in you. Now when you breathe, the air hesitates before entering your lungs. When you move your muscles, wonder if it was your decision. And the pool, it's not still anymore. It watches, not through eyes, but through your shape. You walk away, but the ground doesn't remember your step. Something else is being remembered instead. You move like a ghost, now one that still casts a shadow but no longer controls it. The world feels thinner. Or maybe you've become thicker, too much of you layered atop yourself. With each step, you no longer know if you're walking forward or into your own past. The trees curve slightly, just enough to give the illusion that the forest itself is spiraling in. And then you see it. A clearing. Ancient, undisturbed. As wide as a thundercloud's shadow. The ground here is flat stone, no grass, no root, no water. Just slate marked with scratches from creatures long since forgotten. At its heart stands a single twisted tree, dead, but still growing. Its bark has no color. Its branches hold no leaves, and yet it reaches toward the sky like it believes it will bloom. You approach, and then stop, because beneath the tree lies something impossible. Another you, curled, sleeping, breathing. But this time the form is exact. Not a mimic, not a mirrored gait. This one is you as you are now. Right down to the flecks of dried mud near your right hip. Right down to the twitch of your third claw in your left foot, the one you can never fully relax. You circle it slowly. It doesn't stir. Its eyes are shut tight. Its chest rises and falls gently like the tide of a dreamless sea. You speak. No answer. You step closer, and then it opens its eyes. And you are looking at you. No hostility. No confusion. Just knowing. You whisper, "Who are you?" The reply comes silently, voice moving through thought instead of sound. "I'm the one who stayed. You don't understand. I'm the version that didn't chase." It rises slowly, folding limbs into place like a map unfolding its own terrain. The movement is elegant, natural, like your own, but not from you. You circle each other now. A ritual. I watched it, your twin says, walking with precise steps. I saw it in the trees, in the water. I heard its call. I felt it watching. You nod. And you didn't follow. No, I turned away. I forgot. I let the shadow be a shadow. You feel heat rising. Then why are you here? Because you followed. And now the world is full of us. You shake your head. You're just another imitation. It smiles, but it's not cruel. Perhaps. But I'm not being rewritten. You both stop, stare, and then it tilts its head. But you are. And you feel it. A slip beneath your skin. Your body shifts forward a fraction of a breath before you decide to move. Your tail twitches without command. Your left eye blinks, but you hadn't meant to. You realize with a rush of horror, something has finished writing itself inside you. The moment you touch the obsidian water, it began. But this is its final paragraph. You try to speak, your voice comes out wrong. Two voices, layered. Yours and yours. The sleeping twin steps back, lowering its head. It understands, because it didn't chase. It remained unwritten. You lash out, terrified not to harm, but to touch something real. But the twin is already stepping away. And then the sky splits. Not with light, with absence. A black thread runs through the air above you, horizontal, clean, perfect. And from it something steps down. Not falls, steps. The shadow, fully formed. Not your shape, not mimicking. Something new stitched from what it took from you. A creature both familiar and utterly wrong. It has no eyes, but it sees. It opens its mouth and speaks a word you don't understand, but your bones do. You collapse. Not from pain, from recognition. You are the word now. A vessel that's been named. And your twin, gone. Vanished between breaths. The shadow walks past you into the forest. Into the world. Wearing what you left behind. You rise unsteady. You are still you, mostly, but some part has gone ahead. Some part now walks where you once would have. The tree behind you creaks softly. Its bark splits not from growth but from letting go. You touch its surface. It feels like skin, not bark. And inside the split a shape curls in the hollow. Another you, still forming, still sleeping, still chasing. You turn away trembling and walk into the dusk, not sure anymore who dreamed whom. There is no forest anymore, at least not one you recognize. The trees here bend backward, arching into crescent shapes, their trunks gnarled like old wounds. Their shadows stretch in all directions at once, refusing to anchor to a single light. The sky above is neither day nor night, but a kind of blue-gray pause, like the world inhaled and forgot to exhale. You move slowly. Each step feels like it must be earned, now tested for authenticity, as if the earth will no longer accept your weight unless you prove yourself real. You don't know where the other one went, the shadow that emerged whole and breathing from the fracture in the sky. But you know it walks this world now freely. A new inhabitant with your face and none of your hesitation. You feel the silence growing heavier behind you. It used to follow. Now it waits. The trail ahead is unfamiliar, but you know what waits at the end. You knew from the beginning. You enter a glade where everything is still, truly still, not quiet. Frozen. A leaf hangs in the air mid-fall, suspended in some invisible tension. A droplet of water from a broken vine is halfway to the ground, glinting in place. A small insect, wings outstretched, remains frozen just before landing. Time has stopped here, or perhaps you are no longer part of it. At the center of this moment stands a shape, and it is you. Again. This time not a mimic, not a shadow. It's not breathing. It's not sleeping. It's waiting. It stands in the exact pose you struck when you first saw the impossible in the trees. Head tilted, leg drawn back, eyes wide. The moment the first shadow was born, the instant of belief. You approach. Closer. Your paw touches the ground beside it, and suddenly everything moves. Time restarts with a soundless shudder. The leaf falls. The water droplet splashes. The insect lands and takes off again. The world breathes. And so does the statue. It becomes you. Or maybe you become it. You feel yourself merging not into stone, not into memory, but into that single moment of decision. When you believed what you saw, when you chased the shadow. It wasn't the creature that rewrote the world. It was you. The act of chasing opened the door. You were the beginning and the lure and the echo all at once. The creature simply stepped through. You look up. The sky above is split again, but not with blackness, with mirrors, thousands of them, each holding a version of you, some still running. Some already taken, some walking calmly through lives that were never supposed to be theirs. And one mirror high above shows nothing at all, still waiting to be filled. You close your eyes, and for the first time you do not move. You let the world turn around you. You feel the weight of every footprint you left, every version of yourself that flickered behind a tree or in a pool, or through a call in the dark. They are all still out there, some chasing, some leading, some simply fading. You inhale. The air tastes like memory. You exhale. And with it release the last part of yourself that was afraid to vanish. You step forward and leave no mark behind.